Speaking of running rampant, man, you got your new host here, man.
Oh my god.
Let's talk about this
crazy,
custard.
man.
So, all right.
Squeak on it.
Let me
Squeak on
squeak
it.
on this for you guys. So, Flakko recently did an episode where he talked he talked to Bandman Kevo's manager on the phone, and they got into a bunch of dirt about 16ShotEm. 16ShotEm hits me up right away, says they lying on my name. Like he wasn't like totally pissed about me having somebody on the platform talking so reckless about him, but he definitely wanted to say his piece. So I said, okay, can I get you on a podcast with Flakko? He said, I feel like he was a little bit cautious about it because this is the exact dude who had just been shitting on him. But he says, okay,
so you
I'll
set
do
this
it.
up.
Now, my schedule, I'm only in town for a couple of days. So I had to be like, all right, are you down to do it with somebody else? I was thinking about asking T-Rail. T-Rail's in Texas. I'm like, maybe I'll hit AD up. Let's see if AD... And it's not that I was looking for somebody to be like security in the room, which I had heard discussed that like AD was there as security. That's not... It never even crossed my mind that anything violent could happen in this situation. Mm-hmm. I just thought...
Oh, really?
If AD is there, then maybe he'll be able to at least moderate the conversation
He was a good moderator.
Hopefully keep them from just getting too far left out of pocket in the argument.
He was doing a good job at it for the whole hour.
He was doing a lot because
Yeah.
there was a lot of reining in to do on Flakko because he was so fucking out of control. I feel like as a podcast host, if you are going to sit down with someone and do an interview with them, it's kind of like expected. It's kind of your duty to show them a certain amount of respect. I think coming out the gate with the name calling and the just super aggressive shit was
He didn't
just,
even introduce him yet.
he didn't have like a
Started it
seed
off.
of like, oh, cool, we're on the... I've never seen somebody... Honestly, I've watched so many contentious podcasts where people have blatantly been talking shit about each other, and then they get into the same room together, and all of a sudden, it's a lot less aggressive. It's like they go into it with good faith to try to get to the bottom of the issue.
Exactly.
It did not really feel like a good faith endeavor on Flakko's part. He's calling him a clout chaser and a fraud over and over and over. I think Flakko across the line, he said, suck my dick. Like, you can't say that kind of shit to a street dude like 16 and expect him to not do something. Now, normally in any given situation, if we had somebody on the podcast and they spit in the host's face, it would be like, we're never going to fuck with you again. I don't like you. You're a piece of shit, whatever. I don't feel that way at all about 16. I think Flakko was kind of asking for it in that situation. If anything, I feel like, him spitting in his face was probably kind of nice compared to like just clocking him in the jaw, which is what I feel like a lot of other people would do. So yeah, it was intense. I think Flakko, if he's going to do another episode like that, it can't be that negative out the gate. It can't be, and it felt like it just wasn't even really making a lot of sense.
No.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the stuff he was saying where he was just really railing against 16 for interviewing this dude who ended up calling Bandman Kevo a snitch, right? This guy's like on his case. To me, that's enough of a reason for you to be able to have a fair perspective on him, right? Flakko just keeps saying this guy's got 10,000 followers, yada, yada. It just keeps calling him a nobody over and over. I'm like, what is the point of pointing that out over and over? That doesn't invalidate his entire perspective. Now, if it was just a guy who didn't even fucking know Bandman Kevo and 16 gave him an interview to talk shit about him, that I could see being a problem. That doesn't make a lot of sense. If you're going to put somebody on a platform to talk shit about somebody else like that, they need to be coming from some position of authority, right?
Okay.
They need to have been around them or had something to do with them. It sounds like he fit that criteria, and Flakko just wasn't trying to hear it at all.
And Flakko was kind of acting like it was anything different than what we do here.
Yeah, right?
Like, that's exactly what we all do.
Or what he does. He fucking does these stories talking about people that nobody ever even fucking heard of.
The shit was so crazy. And, since day one, since he got here, all I've ever tried to do was like, hey, bro, like, I ain't trying to tell you what to do, but you know what I'm saying? I don't want nothing bad to happen to you.
You've been doing a good job at that, AD, honestly.
But I've been telling them, fans been hitting me up. You trying to control Flakko. He's not afraid to talk of this. And I'm like,
yeah, all right, niggas.
y'all really don't understand, like, what can really happen in certain situations. And then yesterday, you know what I'm saying? I seen a totally different person than I know. Like, if Flakko came on here and he was just wanting to speak his opinion, you know what I'm saying? then it's cool. I'm not gonna be mad. I ain't gonna let nobody like beat you up because you sitting there is giving your opinion. But my nigga, you was that nigga turned to a whole nother individual.
If we just wanted content and we were perfectly happy to see him just crash out, then we would be encouraging stuff like what he did yesterday.
Yeah.
I think yesterday, we're lucky that we have such a good relationship with 16ShotEm that he's not going to hold it against the brand, but a lot of people would not be so kind.
Yeah.
That tone that he took with him, if he would have had a similar situation with like, you know, a friend or a person who had beef, like I could think of all kinds of people in LA that if you had that kind of conversation with them, they would have beat your ass. Like they wouldn't have waited an hour either. Like I think 16 showed very good restraint.
Exactly.
Oh man,
Spit
he was
is-
cool
I was
the whole
impressed by
time.
him, honestly.
Spit is the worst. And bro, his homies got up, bro. Like, and honestly, they were supposed to beat the dog shit out of Flakko. They supposed to fire on me too for
saved
jumping in the way with him. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And the whole thing is that after the shit happened, we go on a Monday show. Everybody's acting like we hating. They like, hey, niggas hitting me up. AD, you hating on Flakko? You afraid
Bro,
he's
love
gonna get more
starting
popular
a new
than you? You this and this and this and that. And then they see the interview now. Everybody's like, oh, you guys was you woo. I'm like, man, you know what? I jumped in front of that man. You feel me?
Yeah.
I didn't have to do that shit.
You did do that. You
know
put
what
him
I'm saying?
behind you.
Bro, I literally put him behind me. And
Yeah.
bro, that nigga 16 apologized. He was like, man, I didn't mean to do this shit. He was on his way out. Flacco's like, watch, nigga. Watch, just watch. He comes back like, what you mean watch? Like, what did you want? So now, since that happened, everybody's saying, oh, yeah, I want Flakko to talk. I want him to do whatever. AD is washing his hands. Do not ask me to moderate with that nigga no more. You feel me?
That's fair.
You taking a stance.
I'm out. If you want to say something, I'm not gonna warn that nigga no more. I'm not gonna put a muzzle on him.
Yeah.
Nigga, if whatever he do is on him. If somebody running this motherfucker and crack his helmet, I'm gonna sit there and watch.
Be like, I tried to
I'm not
Like he
I'm
did
not,
to Twisty.
I'm not
Oh my god.
but I'm not doing it no more, bro. Because even if, like, let's say, bro, like, if I didn't help him in the situation, niggas would be like, AD, you wrong for letting.
You're damned if you do, damned
didn't
if you
that.
don't.
That's what I'm saying. So
the,
now,
the crazy
I
thing
wash
about
my
it
hands.
is that normally when you get a person on the channel, they're a little reserved. They haven't been on camera that much, etc. So it's like you kind of have to encourage them to get out of their shell. Like with certain people, you're kind of pushing them, like have more of an opinion, have more of a take.
Yeah.
With him, it's a total opposite. And I've never really had this problem before where his takes are already so extreme that you find yourself having to kind of reel him back in. And like, for instance, I don't want to say who, but you guys were talking on the Monday show about a certain magazine cover and a certain editor from the magazine. And he tells me right away about what he's planning on saying about her as a white woman in the hip hop industry. And I told him, and luckily he took my advice and I didn't hear him really saying any of this shit on the Monday show, but I was
he
like,
didn't.
don't make it personal with people in the fucking media world unless you have something really fucking good to go on. Because if you're a woman who works at a media company in hip hop, realistically, as a magazine person or whatever, and someone who's not asking for fucking thanks, I mean, you don't see her contribution of working on this legendary hip hop magazine. And yes, they might not be in the dominant position that they always were, but I was like, bro, do not fucking make it a personal attack with her. It's not. There's not a reason for you to do this. Like, you have to pick your battles wisely. And the shit that he was popping with 16 was just way over the top.
Didn't he tell that nigga, I can press charges on you? I'm like, what?
Yeah, you
When
can't.
did
How are you
it-
gonna
when-
mix that with also saying like I'm gonna beat your ass?
I beat your ass.
Dude, and honestly,
I beat your ass, then press charges, nigga. What's
Yeah,
up?
that's messy.
you know what I have to say about what AD had just said? Like, I feel like a lot of people, including me, originally I only saw the end of it, right? And you can come to your own conclusions, whatever it is that watching the end of it. Today, I watched the full interview
Yeah,
because it dropped today.
I watched the full thing,
And dude,
too.
if you watch the full interview, you can tell that 16ShotEm got to this point where he's like, he didn't say it, but he was like in his brain, he was like, agree to disagree. I'm just not gonna say anything anymore. Flakko kept, like you're saying, kept going with that narrative of like, cloud
was
chaser,
attack-
cloud chaser,
he
cloud
was
chaser.
attacking
And what
It's
I
like,
seen in his
agree
phone,
to disagree and end
what I
it,
seen
you know?
in his
Yeah.
phone was not like nothing that I didn't even want to throw Flakko under the bus. You feel me? So when I was looking at the shit, I'm like, all right, like you ain't making a good case right now.
But look,
you know what I mean? I'm gonna try to move the situation somewhere else.
Yeah.
But look, Flacco's whole point was saying that when he was texting who he was texting, that he said 16 spot him instead of 16 shot him. And that's why the person was like, who?
No, he said that.
That's not what he said?
No, the context of it was the streets and people been telling him about 16, right?
Yeah, and then he said that he hit
the nigga didn't hit him up. Flakko hit the nigga up and was giving him information on 16 out of nowhere. And I'm reading the shit. That's why I asked. I was like, bro, you calling me a liar? I'm reading him telling shit about 16 that he knew nothing about. And the niggas responded back like, who is this? Oh, I see. I follow him. And then
he keeps saying pedophile to 16, and then 16 like explains his situation, which I think he had already explained on the interview and stuff. And it's like, I mean, why even start out with the fucking accusation? Like, that is so extreme to be going there with it. That doesn't have anything to fucking do with the situation that we're talking about in this situation either, right? Like, I don't know. I definitely wasn't stoked on Flakko's. Like he made some very viral content. Okay, good. For sure. That's
Hands
good.
down.
super viral.
Hats off to you for that. It could have been viral without having to be that aggressive and negative.
You think he would have went that viral if it didn't happen like that?
There's certain people that he could do that to, where it might have to be like a real, like, do we feel like it's fair for this guy to be representing the brand on camera? What I keep going back to is I keep thinking about the early days of Everyday Struggle, when I saw Joe Budden spaz the fuck out on Lil Yachty, when I remember like Academics was basically just getting schooled by Joe Budden left and right before he really kind of blossomed into his own person as a podcaster. There's a lot of growing that a podcaster has to go through, and I'm just hoping that he can look at this and be like, oh, I'm not going to make that same mistake
But
again.
bro,
Yeah.
But then you ask him, did he make a mistake? The nigga gonna post on Instagram, I never seen a gangster turn down this and this and this.
Bro,
He didn't spit. I'm like, bro, why are you still talking tough? You
Thug
don't
life.
understand. I'm like, bro, do you not see the comments? Do you not see the people saying that you was wrong? He still don't think that he did nothing wrong. So a person like that, you can't talk to. You just gotta let them crash and burn on their own. I think everybody should stop telling him what to fucking do. Let that man talk his way into whatever it is he gonna get.
We've all tried to individually have a talk with him, I'm pretty sure.
I ain't doing it no
People
more.
don't even know how bad it is though, because there's been like a couple of different like news videos that we filmed that were just him talking into the camera.
Oh man.
And I was just like, this
this
is
out.
not coming out. This is way too aggressive. This is like a big No Jumper logo, one dude, and then he's just wilding. And I'm just like, it comes off different when it's Flakko and T-Rail, or Flakko and AD, or Flakko and Adam, and you have somebody kind of reining them in and giving an alternate perspective and everything. I think that even when I think about Selena, nobody was mad about me just interviewing Selena. People got mad when it was Selena and Eliza by themselves able to be basically the face
100%.
of the brand.
Yeah.
You know, you can interview a crazy person and people won't be that mad, but if you let a crazy person just be the face of the brand, that's when you could have a problem. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, like he definitely doesn't seem like he's shying away from the fucking smoke with 16, which I don't think is a great idea, but yeah.
And like you were saying earlier, like I've seen so many interviews, I can't remember exact names off the top of my head, but I've seen so many interviews where the interview is based off of these two people not liking each other or having some sort of conflict, and they sit down and they're like, hey, how's it going? What's your name? House phone? You know, blah, blah, blah. And they get into the conversation cordial, and they're able to have this conversation where that interview, like you're saying, AD had to be like, introduce the man first before you like get into this.
He already had his mind made up that he was not going to be cool with him, that he was not going to be able to accept his perspective.
It was weird because it was like, my nigga, you don't even know them other niggas, bro. So why is you going so hard for them?
You think he's on the take?
Honestly.
On the payroll? On the PR? On the payroll?
I'm going to keep it G, Cal.
I mean,
Speak on it.
Normally,
it don't make no sense, bro.
Normally, I would hear something like that. I'd be like, it's a conspiracy. There's no way somebody's taking money to have an opinion. But I mean, Batman Kevo was kind of devious.
He was on FaceTime with
and
Cuz last week.
Flakko is out here posting promo on his story every 5 seconds.
He was on FaceTime with Cuz last week.
I never felt like I had to make a rule for the No Jumper staff. You can't take money from someone to have an opinion. Now, I'm not saying that that's what happened.
Hey,
But in the future,
don't
that,
know.
if
that
y'all,
might be
if y'all
something.
trying to get those opinions off, DM me.
Okay, like you wearing a shirt of someone is almost like the same thing, but it's a little different because who cares? But like,
I'm selling opinions. DM me.
I'm just a little bit like, if I found out that Batman Kevo had given Flakko money to say
go
this,
this hard for him?
that would make a lot of sense to me. That would kind of like, now
Bro,
I
the
feel like these
whole
pieces
office-
fit together
The
better.
whole office is yelling at him, like everybody as a
Really?
collective. And I'm like, why is he going so hard for a person he don't know?
And he's turning into Tupaco.
No, think about this. I want y'all to really think about this. This nigga got spit on I just spit on the table.
He spit back dry. He spit back like
Reviewing that
came
again, he didn't spit on him.
That's what I said. I was like, nigga, hold
shot
on.
him, gave him a Tiana
Wait.
Trump. He gave him a dry ass joint, bruh.
Wait.
Hold on.
Let me finish what I was saying real
Okay,
quick. Bro, think about this. These niggas are arguing over a man getting a BBL.
That's true. That's true. At the end of the day, that's true.
That's what y'all niggas is arguing over?
16 almost merched his ass right here over a BBL.
Over a man BBL.
And I still don't think that Kevin got a BBL. Me personally.
I think he was just...
That shit is like wild as hell to
Wait,
hear
didn't
that.
16 show a photo or something?
But that could be him.
That could have been him
lipo,
getting the
though.
lipo.
If he did get BBL, that's the first man I've ever heard of getting a BBL besides Sausage Santana and maybe a couple of other gay dudes.
You've been watching Community, huh?
Yeah, right. He been tapped in.
Caught you.